If you're a business owner or you're somebody in a leadership position at a company that you have influence over and you're wanting to help take your company to the next level, maybe that's to get it to 1 million in revenue. Maybe it's to get to 10 million in revenue, or maybe even trying to get it to 100 million in revenue. I want to show you what I've done at the company that I work for that has helped them go from a few employees, less than 1 million in revenue, all the way up to 130 employees at almost 100 million. And I saw this post from Dan Martell today that said your first 100K is based on your skills. Your first 1 million is based on hiring. Your first 10 million is based on systems. Your first 100 million is based on building leaders, and your first billion is based on brand. Well, we're not at 1 billion and we're approaching 100 million, but when I read that, I thought that's right. I've been through that. I've watched and helped our company go through those benchmarks, and I want to show you what that looks like. And it's actually a very simple framework. I like to think of it as like a triangle, and we're all trying to get to the pinnacle here of making money. And not just making money, but we're looking for significance. We're looking for impact, and we're looking for fulfillment. I think that's ultimately what you as a business owner, you started out with your business trying to make money, but you also want to not just be doing it for money. You want to feel like you're doing something of significance where you're having impact with people and clients, and ultimately you feel fulfilled. You could have all the money in the world, but if you feel hollow on the inside, that you're not fulfilled, then what's the point of it? So we're aiming to get to here. The byproduct is here, and how do we do it? And what I've seen, and when I saw Dan Martell's post, when he talked about your first 1 million is based on hiring, I thought, that's absolutely right. Because when we started hiring the right employees, things started to change. We were able to break through this invisible barrier that took us from 1 million in revenue, probably all the way up to about 10 million in revenue, just based on hiring the right people. And the key is, like, what is the right people? And this is where this kind of triangle comes in. The right people come when you start to identify your company's core values. And what are core values? Core values are the traits or the behaviors of your rock stars that you work with. Your company has a culture. Whether you've identified it or not, it has a culture. And the goal is to figure out what exactly is our culture, to narrow it down to like 4 to 7 words that describes the uniqueness of the rock stars at your company. And once you know what those words are, or what those phrases are that describe your core values, now you have something to work with, so that when you're interviewing people and you're getting ready to hire people, you're looking for these traits. You're looking for these behaviors in people that want to work for your company. Because if you hire people that have these traits, they're going to fit. And when you have a group of people that they just fit, they're going to be experiencing significance and impact and fulfillment on an individual level. But when you hire people just out of desperation and you don't know exactly who the right people are for your company, you're just kind of going on maybe feel or I think I like them. A lot of times they're missing some of the core values that make your place of employment or makes your business a great place to work. And you want to hire people that are like, I love coming to work here. And they love coming to work at your place because they fit. And we've all dealt with employees who it's just a bunch of friction, dealing with them. They're not bad people. They just don't have the traits. They don't have the core values in them, and they're like out of place. So the goal, if you want to get your company, past $1 million, past, from $1 million to like 10 million in revenue, like you have to articulate what the core values are on there. Once you've identified that, you can start hiring and firing and reviewing and rewarding people and recognizing people based on the core values. So it's the foundation. Remember what Dan Martell said? He said 100K is based on skills, but getting to $1 million and beyond is based on hiring. And you want to hire people who are a fit for your culture. So you're going to have to identify what are the core values, what are the 4 to 6 words that people have to have in order to work here. And once you identify who that is, you have a good hire. They're the right person that they're going to fit. Once that's done, Dan Martell, he had on there, it said from 10 million, your first 10 million is then going to be based on systems. And I've totally experienced that as well. We started hiring for core values, but now you need systems to get to 10 million and beyond. It's going to require you to put systems and processes in place. And for me, there's 2 systems, 2 pieces of, you could say software or tools that we started to implement when we were around 10, 20 million in revenue. We put these 2 tools in place, and it's taken us all the way to where we're at today of just under 100 million in revenue. They still are relevant today. And here are the 2 tools that we use. They're actually, one's called Asana, and it's project management software, PMS. project management software. What that means is, how we use this is when you have the right people, they want to know what to do. And have you ever had an employee who they were like a rock star, but they had nothing documented? They were the go-to for everything. Everything lived in their head. And when that person left, there went all their ways of doing things. There went the process. There went the documentation. Because it was never written down, it was in their head. So when they left, everything left. Well, this Asana, it's used to help you document things. And it's not only used to help you document things, it has the ability to create checklists, has the ability to create templates, has the ability to assign work, accountability. It has the ability to set due dates. So now you have this system of processes. You have documentation, and it's web-based. So it can be done on the computer, it can be done on your phone. So now you can have processes, things written down, checklists. Checklists are key. Checklists are amazing because it describes what needs to be done and how to do it. When you create a system based off checklist, you now can plug the right employees into a system, and when they follow the checklist, what's going to happen is the clients are going to get the same result. They're going to get the same result every single time. And if I give an example, like when you go to a restaurant, when you go to your favorite restaurant, you go there because maybe the food's good, maybe the service is good, maybe the environment's good, but what separates it is that it's the same all the time. It's consistent. It's reliable. Yet you don't have to, as a patron, you don't have to think or wonder, or hope I get a good meal, or I hope it's nice. No, you've been going there for so long, you're just kind of like set at ease. You get the same experience every single time. And that's where you want to get to with your company to get to 10 million and beyond. You want your clients to get that same experience over and over and over again. And the way that they do that is you have a system of checklists that the right people are running. and it's web-based. So it's not based on, the employees don't have to be in the same office learning through tribal knowledge or through osmosis. It lives electronically. And Asana has a template feature where you build it once and then you can duplicate it every single time. And you can have a really good system of accountability and auditing through it, so that when things may mess up, you can go back and see when it was done, who made the mistake, how it was done, and make changes. So this literally has enabled us to go from 10 million up to where we're at today. The other tool that we use is Slack. And Slack stands for a searchable log of all communication and knowledge. It's an acronym. And basically, it's a communication tool. When I would do one-on-ones with employees, when I would do annual reviews with employees, I would always ask them, what do you think the biggest problem here is at the company? And for years, a lot of them would say communication. And so I was looking for a communication tool. How can we be better at communicating at our company? I remember we had this one employee, she got hired, and because we didn't have written documentation, we didn't have Asana at the time, we didn't have Slack at the time, but she thought she had to wait a year to start contributing to her 401k. And she realized that she missed out on a whole year. It wasn't until her annual review that she said, when can I start contributing to 401k? And I was like, well, right away. But somebody had told her they thought she had to wait for a year. It felt horrible, but we had no system of communication. We had nothing documented. We also had people that would say they don't know, they wish they knew things that were going on with the company. They wish they knew what other departments were doing. They wish they would have known. I kept hearing that. I wish I'd have known. I wish I could see, especially when you have like a remote employees, like I wish I could see. So Slack is channel-based communication. It's different than email. We still use email, but Slack is just so a much more efficient way to communicate. An example is like we have 130 employees, and we have an email distribution list called employees at our company domain name. So if I wanted to recognize somebody to all employees, I could draft an email, send it to employees at our email domain, and give a shout out to that person. And what invariably happens is you get a bunch of reply alls. Oh yeah, I agree. They're great. Thank you. Thumbs up. All this stuff. And now you're just constantly cleaning out your emails, your inbox. Deleting, archiving, or whatever. All based on responses. But Slack is channel based, where you could create a channel. We have a channel that's called Things Gone Right. So when somebody does something right, or we want to recognize a specific behavior, like according to our core values, I can just post on that Slack channel, like, hey, so-and-so, they did an amazing job. And then now the whole company can see it. They can respond with just like an emoji on there. They can reply back in that channel. And what it's doing is it's not clogging up my email. It's not clogging up that person's email, but it's still there for everybody to see. And the person that got the shout out, they can actually see all the emojis, all the feedback, the positive feedback from it. And the other amazing thing about Slack that's different than email is when you hire a new employee and you set up their email starts blank. Outlook, there's nothing in it. There's no emails in it. There's no nothing. They're starting fresh. There's no history. But when you have Slack and you hire an employee and you give them a Slack account, now they have access to all of the previous conversations for the history of this platform. And it's a tool that they can go back and look. It's searchable. They can search things. They can see how things are done. They can see pictures of employees. There's all kinds of really good history in place that just helps with communication. So these three things right here, identifying core values, getting a system where you can create checklists, templates, and put accountability into place, assigning work, assigning deadlines, and you have a communication platform that's based on channels, not based on email. They literally can take you all the way to 100 million and beyond. And that's what I've seen, and that's why I'm just putting this email or this video out is an example of what you can do wherever you're at the size of company you're at. If you're trying to get to 1 million, hey, identify what your core values are. And even if you have your core values, you can still put like Asana, and Slack in place, and you can set yourself up. You can build that foundation to grow, to ultimately to get to the place where your clients are getting the same experience every single time. Your clients love dealing with your employees because you've hired employees that are a fit for your company. And when you have clients that love working with you, they love the experience, it's the same experience over and over again, they're going to pay you for it. You're going to make more money, and you're going to have a company and a culture that the employees have significance, they're experiencing impact, they're having fulfillment, and that is what's called a top workplace. And we've been a top workplace. The company that I worked for, we've been a top workplace for the last 9 consecutive years. And it literally is because of these 3 things here. So if you want to click, there's a link in the description. You can click on there. I talk more about this. There's a blueprint that you can go through and you can see more about these things. But thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.